A violência baseada no gênero é um fenômeno latente e está enraizado num conjunto de complexos e crenças patriarcais e, na maior parte das vezes, é praticada por pessoas próximas das vítimas. A nível mundial, partilha-se números alarmantes de casos de agressões sexuais e violência envolvendo homens, mulheres e crianças vulneráveis. Acabar com a violência baseada no gênero é uma questão de direitos humanos que exige equidade e justiça, bem como decência e respeito mútuo. É a urgência do momento que deve ser abordada em nossas casas, locais de trabalho, escolas e instituições religiosas. Os governos, no quadro dos seus compromissos na luta contra a violência baseada no gênero, devem rever as leis existentes e aprovar penas mais duras para crimes sexuais e outros abusos, de forma a desencorajar tais atos. Junte-se a nós, junta-se à iniciativa dos governos das Nações Unidas, denuncia para pararmos com estes casos e criarmos um mundo melhor, uma geração de igualdade, sem violência e onde todos possam ter uma maior liberdade.
My name is Howard Van Vranken and I'm the American Ambassador to Botswana. Addressing gender-based violence, or GBV, is one of my top policy priorities. Unfortunately, GBV is an issue that affects the United States, Botswana, and the entire world. While our team at the Embassy and I are committed to addressing GBV year-round, the annual 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is an important time to highlight how we support our local partners in Botswana who work tirelessly to end GBV. The U.S. mission this year will host a march here in Gaborone to raise awareness, codify women, peace, and security collaboration with the Botswana Defense Force, speak with adolescent boys in a conversation entitled Coaching Boys into Men, facilitate a discussion with traditional leaders, the Dikhosi, on gender norms in Botswana's Domestic Violence Act, and train healthcare providers on trauma-informed care. Gender-based violence is a responsibility that requires action from all of us, regardless of gender and profession. And it's a responsibility the U.S. mission, with our partners in Botswana, is committed to year-round. And if you or someone you know is a GBV survivor, reach out to the Botswana GBV Prevention and Support Center. Thank you.
Gender-based violence is a very serious problem, particularly in South Africa and in Botswana. We have seen this, we've heard about this. We have to talk about gender-based violence because gender-based violence lives in our families. We have to have our parents to talk to children about gender-based violence. We need schools to teach children about gender-based violence. Our religious organizations need to talk about gender-based violence because we tend to keep quiet. We tend to hide it because we are worried what are people going to say. Gender-based violence is not only about the violence against women. Gender-based violence is about rape, it's about incest, it's about the killings that happen in our society. And we don't talk about them because we try to hide the shame of what happens in our families. And this is very wrong. Gender-based violence needs to be criminalized. Many times our legal system looks at gender-based violence as a domestic problem. And that really has to be changed. We need to talk about gender-based violence every day, not only during the 16 days of violence against women. It needs to be every day, and it's all our responsibility. I thank you.
Hello, my name is Pamela Tsanga, and I am Zambia's High Commissioner to Botswana. Gender-based violence is a challenge that affects many countries across the world. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it acceptable. We must therefore all stand together to speak up and speak against gender-based violence. We must continue to push for policies, for legislation, for systems and actions that address gender-based violence. In many of our cultures, we have a lot of practices that teach girls from a very early age to become good wives and good mothers. we don't have similar practices to teach boys to become good husbands and good fathers. Instead, we focus on teaching boys to become strong men. If we are to end gender-based violence, we need to address this. Remember that gender-based violence is not your fault. Speak to somebody you can trust about it so that you can get the help you need to stay safe and stay alive. Thank you.
My name is Antonio Mashev, the High Commissioner of the Republic of Mozambique to the Republic of Botswana. And I would like to add the voice of Mozambique in the 2023 annual campaign, 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence in Botswana. On November 25th, we mark the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and the beginning of the annual 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence campaign that runs until December 10, the Women's Rights Day. This year's campaign focused on the theme investing to strengthen the prevention of violence against women and girls. The violence against women and girls has reached great proportions and expressed itself in a variety of ways, the most common being physical aggression, sexual violence, forced unions of girls, and other forms of violence and discriminatory practices against the freedom and autonomy of women and girls, affecting their physical integrity and dignity. To reverse this situation, it is necessary to change attitudes, behaviors, and mentalities in society, promoting the adoption of values based on gender equality, relations of mutual respect, without violence, and investing in the education of girls and boys from an early age. I would like to congratulate the SADC Secretariat on the launch of the SADC Revised Mainstream Resource Kit for Gender on 27 November 2023 as a contribution to the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The empowerment of women is a priority of the government of Mozambique and is part of its 5-year program 2020-2024 in the Women Development Pillar. Prioritized actions aimed at empowering women with remarkable progress in the political, economic, social, and cultural spheres. I would like also to acknowledge the efforts that the government of Botswana is making through the approval of tougher laws against practitioners of gender-based violence.
Hello everybody, my name is Ahmet Idam Akay. I am the Ambassador of the Republic of Turkey to the Republic of Botswana. As we observe 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, I would like to express that my country strongly supports the calls for the prevention and elimination of violence against women and girls, which is a global problem.
I am pleased to join this initiative of activism of the US mission to combat the scourge of gender-based violence. My message is simple. Gender-based violence is violation of human rights. Gender-based violence is a violation of what makes us human beings. Unfortunately, it happens in all corners of the world. An active stand against it is one of the things that is in our reach, which can improve ourselves and our condition as human beings. Please think about that. Thank you.
I'm Soukaina Fall from the French Embassy, Economic and Civil Society Attaché. This embassy, which follows a feminist diplomacy approach, supports civil society organizations here in Botswana fighting GBV. We have a program which is going to continue next year and is going to focus on preventing situations of vulnerability through socioeconomic empowerment and preventing violences through education and awareness raising. Looking forward to keep working on these important issues with our local partners.
I would like to share some thoughts with you in the context of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Each and every one of us is a sister or a brother or a daughter or a son or a father or mother. And we all would like to see our loved ones happy and safe. I think the worst thing that can happen to anybody is to know that a loved one was a victim of sexual violence. Being sexually harassed or raped or molested, it's actually the worst thing that can happen to anybody. And this is why I think that we all have a commitment to do something against gender-based violence, to speak out and to help the most vulnerable people. The German embassy is supporting NGOs, is working with schools, with universities to raise awareness on gender-based violence. And I think everybody should do so because it is an important subject. Anybody can be a victim anywhere in the world, in Botswana, as well as in Germany or in any other country. I think we all have a responsibility, so let's rally together, let's stand together, and let's act against gender-based violence.
I am Petra Pereira, the European Union Ambassador to Botswana and SADC. Fighting gender-based violence is a top priority for European Union here in Botswana and across the globe. Let us all unite, invest and act to eliminate gender-based violence.
Dumela, my name is Liang Wang. I'm the World Bank country representative for Botswana. Gender-based violence is not just the wrong thing to do, it's also very bad economics. Globally, 1% increase of the share of women suffering from physical violence can reduce economic opportunities up to 8%. In Botswana, women has to be an empowered economic force to drive Botswana's continued economic transformation. And for that to happen, gender-based violence has to end. The World Bank is committed to work with the leaders, the partners, and the society in Botswana to end gender-based violence.
I'm Sian Price, the British High Commissioner to Botswana. Every 11 minutes, somewhere in the world, a woman is killed by an intimate partner and/or family member. 1 in every 3 women experiences physical or sexual violence in her lifetime. This is a systematic human rights abuse, rooted in unequal power dynamics between men and women. And the world is significantly off track to meet the target of eliminating violence against women and girls by 2030. Because despite the fact that violence is preventable, it remains chronically overlooked and underfunded. So what can we do collectively to scale up our response? One key answer is to work creatively and collaboratively. By creating and supporting new collaborations that bring together actors from across different fields, we can work together to deliver core benefits. For example, we can unite the efforts of GBV experts with education experts, because tackling violence allows girls to go to school.